All right. Hey, everyone. Thanks for joining again. So, last week, Sumant and I walked through Rana and we talked about their onboarding, their creatives. And this week, we actually got interested in a category that we haven't talked about a lot earlier, which is kids learning. So, these are apps that are targeted towards kids. Of course, the target is the parent, where the apps are trying to sell to the parent, but the ultimate end user is the child. For me, this is philosophically an interesting category because I don't know where I stand yet on screen time for kids. So while for me, the jury is still out on that, I'm still curious from a growth perspective. How are these apps positioning? How are these apps growing? And how are these apps solving for different problem statements? So, so yeah, that's a topic for today. I'm Dave, growth nerd, joined by Sumant. Sumant, anything
Yeah,
you want to say before we dive into our discussion?
I think apart from you sharing the apps, I think initially I had no idea what these guys were doing, but they've been raising money and growing. So yeah, there's a
Mhm.
bunch of new interesting things that we can take from here. And more importantly, the audience, right? The audience is, I don't know what, is it Gen Alpha or is it a next version of Gen Alpha now?
Actually, I've lost count. I've lost count of what it's called.
Yeah,
So I don't know honestly.
I think with every generation, the interaction pattern changes. So yeah,
Yeah,
I'm very curious actually, like the way these apps are engaging that audience. It might be very different than what we are exposed to. So would be interesting to
yeah,
check it out.
yeah. I mean, I think going forward there'll be parents that just don't allow screen time, any screen time.
Yeah.
I honestly might fall in that category myself, but I
Mm,
think there'll be a lot of parents who would be doing intentional screen time where they'll be curating how the experience looks like for their child,
yeah.
maybe like an iPad with a set of selected apps, and that's
Yeah.
it. And then there might be parents who would be more liberal around it and like you can use whatever you want. I pretty much think like these apps are
Yeah.
targeting the second and third category, which will be large enough.
It's interesting because the Lingo Kids ads are mostly not ads, but essentially the positioning is um, parents feel guilty about the screen time. So
Mm,
it's an existing habit. Now, how do I how do I change instead of spending time on whatever TikTok and YouTube and stuff like that? Can I make it more
interesting.
meaningful? Is what they
Yeah.
assess,
Yeah.
which is the audience. But what do you think? What is it for?
So for context, we tried two apps. I tried Pok Pok
Yeah,
and Sumant, you tried Lingo Kids. And these both apps are around that space of like educational learning for kids. Pok Pok is more like Montessori style education, is how they are positioning themselves. It's also positioned as like a non-addictive form of learning.
that's
Going
interesting.
back to your point, one of their hooks is 90% less screen time outbursts. Once a child uses a screen, after that, there can always be like an emotional outburst because it's so stimulating, like video, etc., is just so stimulating that when you keep it down, the child wants it more. It's addictive and there can be an outburst. But this app is designed in a way that that won't happen. The child would just be calm and would naturally flow
Yeah,
into another activity. So that seems to be the value prop here. If the child is already getting screen time, how do you ensure that it's done in the best possible way?
oh, that's
So,
yeah, no,
yeah,
that's so interesting. I think these two apps are solving the problem, but in two different ways.
yeah,
Your app is trying to, I think it's solving that like a very it's a painkiller. It's like, in flights, the
mm,
biggest fear is like having crying kids, right?
yeah,
It's a crazy painkiller, and it's interesting how they're like pushing you, like making it less addictive. But I think
mm,
in the Lingo Kids case, it is addictive. You'll be
mm,
addicted to good things. You
yeah,
being it, yeah, that's fine. It's sugar. It's
yeah,
fine.
wonderful.
Yeah.
I'll share my screen and share a little bit more about Pok Pok. So this is their website. You can see, they're talking about Montessori play in a whole new way, non-addictive educational games for ages 2 and 8. Again, they've won awards like an Apple Design Award. That's reason why it caught my attention as well. The design does look very unique and it does look like a calm design. And yeah, I think just looking at the design, I would at least buy that idea that okay, this won't overstimulate a child. I've also seen this playroom positioning in different places. So it's a set of games, a set of digital toys that are built for kids. So yeah, a very unique product. They're also running ads on Meta, and as of now, just 59 results.
But these are active ads
Is that
filter
correct?
on the right.
Let's do that.
It's for a
So
bit.
they've definitely tried a lot. 480 ads, if I remove that filter. Actually, I had looked at them last month as well. And last month, they were doing around 600K in revenue and had roughly 150 active ads last month.
Wow. Okay.
Whereas this month, they are doing 500K and have only 59 active ads. So it does seem like they are perhaps tightening up a little bit, making sure their growth is profitable. They also brought down the number of downloads. So from 70K to 40K, but 500K revenue. So it seems that the average revenue per user or average revenue per download is actually increased. So they seem to be getting more disciplined from a business
Nice.
perspective. That's why
Nice.
they're like scaling down on the ads most likely. But I just wanted to share a few concepts that stood out to me amongst the ads that they are running. One that stood out to me was secret to a stress-free flight with young kids. So it's all about traveling and making sure your kid is calm while you're traveling, because that can be an important pain point, right? For parents, flights can particularly be
Right.
tough. So they have a video ad just around that, focusing on the flight.
And
There's
it's interesting that the videos like taking off. I think I don't know, but I think kids do need some distraction when the flight is taking off because there's a lot of whatever sound
yeah,
and this and that. It's nice for them to
yeah,
pick that moment where it happens.
that's a great point. Like they also have this while the flight is on, nice, cute, creative download pop pop. So yeah, your
Very
kids will be
cool.
sitting. It's educational ad free. Same
Nice.
copy, but like different backgrounds. Again, sort of similar concept, but a different variant of it.
Yeah.
Uh, like a
But this is a
screenshot.
treat. Yeah.
This is like a tweet. Some parents sharing this iPad with the app in it while the child is in flight. So this seems to be the dominant concept, right? Like how to
Yeah.
ensure that your child is calm while traveling. So very specific. They're already targeting a niche, but within that niche, they are going even more specific. This is
Yeah.
for calm traveling. So that's like the bulk of the concept, but like few other concepts as well that popped up recently. Like one is this. So it's like my little one is finally talking more.
Mm.
So it's sort of going beyond the child being calm. It's also
Yeah.
like, okay, there are other benefits that are carrying through
Yeah.
after using Pok Pok, like the child is more talkative and looks happier.
Yeah.
And then I also saw one around kids fighting less. So it's not just about one child, it's like about
Oh yeah. Multiple
both children,
kids. Mm-hmm.
multiple. They usually fight over everything, but not Pok Pok. So these kids using it together. So that's sort of them expanding the use cases,
So
jobs to be done. Like probably they leaned in with this, calm traveling, but they've gone beyond calm traveling. They're doing kids talking more, kids not fighting amongst each other. So them sort of slowly expanding the use cases, which is super interesting. Then I went to the onboarding. So let me share a little bit around that. Pretty short onboarding, I think 5 or 6 screens, but to the point. So welcome to gentler screen time. 90% of parents say their kids are calm. Then they're asking for the age of
oh
the
wow.
child. Yeah. Then
So
they
me it's
actually
on.
two interesting questions. How can we
Yeah.
support your family? Three clear jobs to be done: independent play, gentle screen time, learning. So they weren't really leading with learning in their creatives,
Yeah.
at least. It was more around play and gentle screen time, but learning is definitely one of the core value props.
I just want to spend a little time on this of the onboarding screen, right? So,
Hmm.
so what I was noticing was why is there a car on the progress meter? And I'm kind of expecting the car to show up at the end of the final screen, and they might show like
Hmm.
the journey as a journeys whatever here or something like that. Ideally, it should have been a flight. If it was so much about flights.
Yeah.
So
They also had creatives around road trips. So it was around road tips, but it's a interesting observation. I think it's a cute way
Yeah.
to do a progress bar. Flight could
Yeah.
be another good variant, but yeah, this is
Yeah.
a nice one.
But if they do put an icon there, I'm expecting the icon to show up at the final screen. Expectation I have at the moment. I don't know.
Okay.
Like I don't know if it's a growth thing or a user thing. It's just skip this question like everywhere for all questions.
It's there everywhere. You can actually skip the entire onboarding and just reach the paywall. I mean,
Interesting.
probably it's there
Okay.
for users who already have a strong intent, like just want to go ahead and
Yeah.
made up their mind to buy.
But I don't know why the skip this question. So skip onboarding makes sense. But why is there a
Yeah.
skip question? Like, is it because this is like a little too hard to answer? Using
Yeah.
it to personalize. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's clearly less visible. It's not as
Okay.
salient as continue clearly, but I think it's just like providing an alternate pathway. Many apps do
Yeah.
that. They have a skip
Sure.
option for someone who just wants to get to the end of the onboarding.
Onboarding is totally fine. But here it's not skip onboarding. It's skip this question, which means there still
Yeah.
be an onboarding.
Yeah.
I feel like was not necessary, but it's fine.
Yeah.
It's yeah. We can move ahead.
Then there is a
But
profile
what is additional?
screen.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah. So yeah, you can. It's indicating that, of course, you can. If you have multiple children, you can make different profiles for them later. But
Okay.
it's just getting started with one. And then there, what does your little one love to do? So you can choose up to 3 activities. Again, hinting at personalization. Still having that skip option in case you're not ready to answer it right now. You don't have it on top of your mind. You want to see the app first and then make these decisions. So yeah, they have that option. You can choose 3. And I think this is a nice follow-up question. What do you want your child to learn? Like, so what are things that your child naturally does? What are activities that they like? But what is it that you want your child to learn? What are goals that you want to set for your child? Just providing 4 options here: STEM, problem solving, creativity, and social emotional skills. So yeah. And this is where they're repeating this value prop. 90% of parents notice fewer screen time meltdowns with Pok Pok. And honestly, I didn't even know what screen time meltdown is. I had to Google what that is, but apparently, yeah, if you end up giving access to screens to children, when you take it away, it can be messy.
I think this is like one of the most popular screens in onboarding, right? Social proofing. So, and I think here you ideally want to show pictures of parents and kids being like calm and whatnot, like whatever was in the ad.
Yeah.
I think this, like, it needs to be a little more real, I guess. So,
Yeah.
a missed opportunity, I feel like, but maybe they don't need.
Yeah, I think that's always a trade off between having like a consistent design language throughout the onboarding versus actual testimonials shown
Yeah.
or like images of parents shown here. But there might be a break in the design language. The visuals we are seeing are already similar to what we'll see in the app. So it's a little bit of
Okay.
trade-off to do that, which I think must have gone behind thinking this, because a traditional social proof screen in onboarding would have 5 stars or would have a testimonial or something like that. But this is very like app native kind of screen that they've gone with here. Could be worth trying.
Let's see. Maybe they'll bring this up. Maybe.
Mhm. And then yeah, that's it. Just 4 5 questions. Then there's personalization
Can
in
you play
progress.
this? I want to see the interaction. Okay, so there's a car. The car should have been driving, right? Like
Yeah.
this side. Okay.
Probably missed opportunity. Yeah. Could have closed the loop on that one.
Yeah. Okay.
Loved by kids. I think guilt-free is something you brought with the Lingo kids as well, right? The guilt-free framing.
Yeah.
I think they're also going with it, like non-addictive, Montessori inspired, stress-free travel, and calming. But really, all of this is leading to guilt-free parents. So yeah, I think that's consistent across apps.
But is that the positioning? Because that's an infrequent use case, right?
Exactly. And that's why I think they are expanding beyond that. I think they like, you saw a lot of creatives around travel, but then they're starting to add creatives around kids not fighting. So
Yeah.
I think
Sure.
they're leading with one, but there is more. There's more to the app.
I have some thoughts.
Yeah.
On this.
Go ahead.
So you're saying basically this app cannot be used without signing up for a trial, without subscribing essentially, right?
Yeah.
onboarding has to work, right? Onboarding
Yeah,
has to, first has to work.
100%.
I feel like there's so much room for
Yeah,
improvement. They just tried it. They just added it. Like someone just
yeah,
did it. And if there was a skip onboarding option, that makes no sense. Why would they skip? How to
mm,
skip is that it is at the flow. Ideally, they should have at
yeah,
least created an experience here before the paywall.
yeah,
If it was interactive. So
yeah,
I'm just like, I don't understand why
yeah,
how this worked so far.
yeah. It's such a big opportunity, especially with the hard paywall. As we've been discussing, you really need to build intent, right? You
Yeah.
need to you communicate multiple times to the
Yeah.
user what the value prop is, and you can communicate that through questions or to understanding them better. But it's such a big opportunity to double down on the use case and the value prop of your child being calm, stress-free traveling. I
Yeah.
think a brilliant like onboarding could work here where you are also exposing some of the app's features or the user experience. It's an interesting trade-off there because
Yeah.
here the end user is probably not doing the onboarding. It's the parent doing the
Oh
onboarding.
yeah, fair.
So making the parent play a game or try a game,
Oh yeah, that makes so
like
much.
it may not come naturally, but I still feel like if I am signing up into an app for my child, I would like to see what games you are exposing them. Maybe one game, right?
Mm.
I would want to try out that game and at least see if it looks non addictive. If design is their USP, why not sell it in the onboarding? Even if you don't want to expose the design in the onboarding because, parents ultimately it's for the child to play, you can try and understand the parent psychology a little bit more. Where is their guilt coming from? What are their fears around screen time? Sort of demonstrate a little bit more how this will be non-addictive. Because
Yeah.
if I'm making a commitment to sign up for a trial, I want those questions answered. So yeah, there's a big opportunity on educating the parent on how this app is different and how can the child benefit from this particular app.
That's right. No, I think
Mhm.
I'm actually now very curious to see, like, after this, it has to be like
Yeah.
extraordinary. It's
Wow. Yeah.
okay.
Great. And then, yeah, if you skip the hard paywall, they give you a discount, which is only for the annual offer. So it's a
Okay.
cheaper annual offer if you skip it. But then you go directly into the app experience.
Nice.
So let me play this. This is the
Okay.
app experience.
Yeah.
It's literally these floating circles. This is
Mhm.
it. And you tap on any one of this and it opens like a learning session.
Okay. Play it from the
Yeah.
beginning.
Yeah.
Just want to see the flow. Understand what these are. There's some t-shirts, some colorful stuff. Maybe colors also work in this case for calming you down. These look just like images. What is it? Freaky thing in the middle that's like some skull? Was it a skull?
Where?
Like,
The slider?
can you go back? Yeah, see if you isn't there
Yeah,
a
the clown, a clown, a scary clown, or like skull clown.
there's a so this is what I told you. I think as a parent or let's say maybe like as a kid, maybe this makes a lot of sense. But I would never
Yeah,
know why. This is so weird.
yeah,
But okay, let's play. But as a parent, what do you think? What is your reaction when you did all of this stuff?
yeah. A few things I noticed as someone who loves trying out apps. I'm always used to apps which have clear path and a clear goal setting, where the app's UX is trying to tell me where I need to go next. This feels very exploratory, right? Like I can tap anywhere. Each one of these has its own path. It's like a game, it's like a learning experience, each one of these. And I think that's a very intentional design to keep this exploratory. Probably it works really well with kids, where kids just want
Yeah.
to tap anywhere and go into an experience. So I like that kind of design. It's different, it's unique. I think definitely it's tough to understand how non-addictive this is, but it definitely stands out. It's not similar to other apps in terms of the colors that they're using, the designs that they're using. It's much simpler. It almost feels like somebody drew this art. So
Yeah.
that definitely resonates with me. The design sort of standing out, being simpler, being gentler to the eyes. So that definitely is standing out. The exploratory thing can be tough for me to understand, to be honest, because there is just so much to do. I don't know what exactly is the goal behind every session, but I could see a child being engaged with it and like seeing all these colors, seeing all these designs pop up. It could be lots of things for a child to try. So, for example, like there is one that takes you to a sketching room where you can just scribble. That's all you do. You can just scribble here in a sketching room. Then one takes you to this playroom and you can just move a character.
Oh,
You can just keep exploring. And that's it. Like
okay.
they basically built a bunch of interactive playrooms for kids and a bunch of digital toys for kids to play around. And yeah, the kind of colors that they've used, it's not very jarring, it's not overstimulating. So, as I said earlier, I'm still on the fence about whether or not screen time is good for kids. But if I was open to letting kids try out apps, I would feel more comfortable with an app like this because, the design, the colors seem intentional. And the exploratory thing actually works for me because I think that's a good way to engage kids, like, self-directed learning. They can figure out what they want to tap on, which session they want to do, and rather than the app guiding them step by step. That is my takeaway.
Nice. No, I think definitely unique. I mean, I also noticed that this is meant for less than 7 years or 6 years, right? And six plus.
Yeah,
So I'm guessing it's more visual than text. I didn't see any text.
interesting.
It's just visual. Um, yeah, it's just. I mean, clearly it's designed for developing kids, and I'm just like understand. The parents just pay for it and then they give it off. That's it. And it's the parents' involvement is just during the onboarding. And I don't think they did
Yeah,
and I still, I
that's
mean,
great. Great
yeah,
point.
right. And like you mentioned, the
Mm.
parents wouldn't, that's why the core experience did not make sense to maybe be in onboarding because it is so weirdly different,
Yeah,
right? That's so,
it's so
yeah,
it's the core
yeah,
experience is very designed for children, so it's like
correct.
very
So
exploratory versus
I
way
kind of
clear.
understand why it did make sense in onboarding from what I saw. So
Yeah,
I'm just trying to see like if they really wanted to grow the revenue, they could have done a really, really good job with onboarding those
yeah,
groups.
for
Maybe,
sure.
but definitely that the core experience is unlike anything I've ever seen. I also see that there's no in-app purchases. There's no like leveling up system.
Yeah,
It's
it's
just
just like
there's no Windows situation at all. There's no star system. There's no whatever, no levels as such. So
yeah,
it's so yeah. I can't wrap my head around it. Like
so
yeah,
indie,
yeah, and
and if
there's no
you
progress.
there's no
Sorry, sorry.
progress.
Just one more thought on this. You earlier we mentioned that there's only one use case, which is the flights, right? And we thought, okay, maybe they could also expand to learning. But if you look at that, if you want learning to happen, there has to be a path. There has to be
Yeah,
leveling. There has to be structure, and that goes against the design principles of whatever they've done in the core experience.
explanatory. Yeah,
I think they're struggling there, and that's why they're not doing it because it makes to do
yeah,
it.
yeah. I think there's a lot to unpack here because the leveling system, the XPs, one could argue those are also things that make an app addictive because you are addicted to that progress. You want to keep coming back. So maybe it's an intentional choice to not have that and like have no in app purchases. You just sign up for a subscription and that's it. And after that, it's up to you. You use the app for 1 minute or like 100 minutes. But as you said, there is a trade off there. If you want the child to get tangible learning outcomes, that it will need a structure. Whereas if you just want the child to be calm, then this works. A little bit more on the calm use case, which is like,
Yeah,
they also had that as an onboarding question, right? Traveling. I think then there's also an opportunity from a monetization perspective to not just have a monthly or annual subscription, but maybe have like a one-time purchase. I know apps are very fearful of doing that because
yeah,
you want subscriptions because you want recurring revenue. But imagine how many users you may be missing out on. Why not give parents the option to just buy an IAP which is like a consumable
Yeah.
purchase, one time purchase that just gives you access to the app for like 2 days. And, you can just for one flight, right? And the next time you can buy it again. So many parents would be hesitant to sign up for a monthly subscription when they just need it for a car ride or a flight. I think that's also another missed opportunity, which perhaps they could
Yeah.
explore. Perhaps that would be the secret sauce. If exploration, making a child calm is the direction they want to go into
Yeah.
versus doubling down on the learning piece, then maybe they need to adapt their onboarding monetization as well around that use case.
That's an interesting point. Yeah, right. Like they might just need it for travel, right? And travel's an infrequent use case. So it makes sense to make
Yeah.
it like just a commodity that you purchase. But now that I think of it, maybe these interfaces, they need some build up time for the kids to understand and build that cycle of calmness. So if you just like show it
Mm,
like for the first time with the flight, I don't think it'll work. It needs that whatever like
mm,
practice sessions so maybe it makes sense
right.
for this to always be there and around. And
Right.
my follow up question to this is there is no education for the parents on how to use this. Like
Yeah.
I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
Should I use it every time they're crying, sparingly?
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
know. If I use
Yeah.
it the wrong way, it's gone. I feel like so much is missed here. Like,
Yeah. I mean, it really feels like an opportunity
yeah,
for me because I really think, as you said, right, you've never seen something like this before.
yeah,
This is an app which is unique, which has a unique design, language. They could do so much with onboarding, like trying to
yeah,
understand the patterns of the child. When is the child? What hour of the day is the child most agitated? When would you need help making the child calmer? You know,
yeah,
how do you structure your child's learning? Or how do you design the time with your child, like the educational piece with your child? All
yeah,
of these
yeah,
could be questions, and they could also serve as educational opportunities for the parents so
yeah,
that before you see the hard paywall, you know exactly where
yeah,
this
yeah,
app fits in into
yeah,
your schedule, your child's schedule. And it's okay if you're not seeing the core experience because it'll be tough to have a no exploratory core experience in the onboarding,
yeah, yeah.
but you need that education piece.
I think,
Yeah.
but no, I'll still say this. Despite all of this, if they're doing well, then the core experience
Yeah.
really, I think they just focused on that. It's your
Yeah.
biggest growth. As long as you get a core
Yeah.
experience,
Yeah.
then you're
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
But then there's many apps that are
yeah,
okay with the core experience, but then they do onboarding monetization so well that
yeah,
they can grow. So
yeah,
this app, which has a unique core experience, there's just so much opportunity for it to grow. Even when the use case, the user segment is so niche, I still
yeah.
feel there's like a big opportunity for it to grow.
One more topic I want to talk about is understanding how they're using addictiveness. That's actually very interesting because a lot of apps like get bad rap for addictive, right? Like you don't like Instagram, TikTok. When you first talk about it, everyone's like, it's a waste of time,
Uh,
which is true. And I think a lot of apps want engagement, but at the same time, it shouldn't be at the cost of a user. If
yeah.
someone loses their job because they spend too much time on TikTok, that's actually bad. So
Yeah.
I think that it's important for a lot of apps to like build that. Maybe even Duolingo, like you shouldn't be too addicted to
Mm,
it. So now I'm trying to take some principles out, and people have done this. Instagram, for example, has like a screen limiter and stuff like that, just to
yeah.
help you not like become addicted. But those things don't work. Those are also gamification. You build magnetic caps for if you put 1 hour, then
Mm,
you will stick around for 1 hour for sure. It becomes
yeah.
worse for you, right?
Yeah.
I think I'm trying to see if there are things or elements from this experience that we could apply to normal apps, like to make it less addictive, which is actually, I know it's not a great business decision, but in a way,
Yeah.
if you, as a brand, if you show to the user that, hey, I'm going to protect your time, it automatically kind of like works out eventually, right? So from that perspective, first I think everything was very hand drawn, and
Yeah.
I'm guessing it is very calm, very
Yeah.
slow, and this is one of the things that I like learned or someone told me recently is that uh, whenever you do things very fast, let's say when you're brushing your teeth, if you do it like really fast, if you just slow it down, you automatically become calm. So whenever you're doing
Mm,
something, just do it slowly. You become
yeah.
calmer.
Yeah.
Every interaction in this, even like the switching from that one song to the other, it's very slow. intentionally
Yeah.
slow. So
Yeah.
maybe there's a, and as opposed to, let's say, Duolingo is the very common example where, yeah, you have to like finish the next thing, move to the, and they show a time on how long you took to finish a lesson. And they make sure it's
Yeah.
in under. So I think that is like one intentionally slowing down would be interesting. I don't know if like that's one.
Yeah.
I also saw one more. Yeah, no reward loops. Not,
Exactly.
there's no reward loop.
No reward.
No,
I was just about to say that there's no feedback. Absolutely no
yeah,
feedback. Feedback could be in the form of like just progression or reward,
yeah,
streaks, nothing. So you basically
yeah,
strip all of that, and
yeah,
the app is less addictive.
yeah.
That's
And
the hypothesis.
so there is a reward loop, but it's more behavioral. Yes, it's to become
Yeah.
calm. So
Yeah.
it is, in a way, it's still addictive, but not from the app's perspective. So
Yeah. Yeah.
that's the meta layer of reward loops that we have built.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think I just want to thought experiment. If you would want to make an addictive app less addictive, let's take an addictive app. Let's take Duolingo. Let's take it for now. How would you make that less addictive? What would be a Poco, say Poc Poc, right? What is a Poc Poc
Pok pok.
version of Duolingo for adults?
I would basically roll back all the retention wins that they have deployed. I would roll all
Remove
of it back.
streaks. Bad.
I would take out the linear progression,
Yeah.
with an avatar that's giving me feedback after
Yeah.
every answer. I would just
Yeah.
take it out. I would take out streaks, as you said. I would take out XPs, and I would
Arts,
probably
energies.
just make Duolingo exploratory. Start
Yeah.
anywhere, and like you can just do whatever you want. Like you want to have a conversation, like at a high level, just have it. Like you don't need to go through
uh,
levels. You need to, of course, like more advanced things which Duolingo
yeah.
does around like notifications, etc., which we didn't get to hear. I
Yeah.
would be really surprised if they would send notifications. Of course, there wasn't
Yeah.
any screen around accepting notifications. So clearly for
Yeah.
a non-addictive app, there shouldn't be any notifications. So
Yeah.
yeah, make the visual language very calm, very non-stimulating colors. Don't make the owl green, make the owl
Mm.
like, it's a
Yeah. Yeah.
gentle color. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's not obvious because
Yeah.
one meta point here, which is the reason why I wanted to try this app, is also understanding the anti trends, right?
Yeah.
Like there are all these gamification, retention levers that apps are exploring. And
Yeah.
this app is, trying to identify the anti trend, which is now people are also looking for things which are non addictive. Like that is a USP in itself. It
Yeah.
wouldn't have been a USP 5 years back, but now it is. It's
Yeah.
trying to identify that anti trend and doubling down on it. So I think it's doing a good job. And that's why I would be bullish about it because right now there might not be enough users, maybe like 40K, 50K downloads a month as
Yeah.
we're seeing, which are
Yeah.
interested in something like this. But like 2 years from now, maybe more users are interested in trying this out. More parents are interested in trying such a product because they've seen those addictive mechanisms in every
Yeah.
product. They see it so clearly that the lack of
Mm.
it is now so salient. You're so used to notifications now, you're so used
Yeah.
to level progression that when you see a game like experience without levels,
Yeah.
this is like a USP in itself. So
Yeah.
definitely an anti-trend, worth checking out, worth following how this matures, what
Yeah.
more apps come out of it. Kid
And
learning is one space,
yeah.
but non-addictive language learning, non-addictive math
Correct.
learning, not just for
Correct.
kids, even for adults, right? Like this could
Yeah.
be a USP for other apps to explore as well.
I think it's, they say this, right? Every time something wins, it becomes like there's something else that will come out as an antithesis of that. For example,
Yeah.
like before Duolingo, probably no app was gamified, and at least like language learning was very boring and straightforward. And they were like,
Yeah.
let's make it fun. They
Yeah.
overdone it.
Yeah.
There's another anti-trend. And just to bring back to the conversation of like the focus on kids and education there. I actually saw an anti-pattern in Lingo Kids. Fully
Wow.
level up, full gamification going on there. So
Yeah.
I think we should definitely check out because same audience, but solving it in a very different way. They just accepted everyone's going to be addicted. Let's just get them addicted to the
Wow.
good things.
Yeah. Yeah. Sumant, you want to do that as a part two because I think there is a lot,
I know.
there might be a lot to unpack here, given what we've seen here and
Yeah,
some of the trends we've identified. Going
that's
into
right.
Lingo Kids probably as a part two might be, great because then we'll be able to because
Yeah,
these two trends might go in parallel, you know, gamified kids learning versus non-addictive kids learning.
let's see who
Yeah,
wins.
yeah.
I
Let's see.
mean, definitely.
Right now, Lingo is winning. It's
Yeah,
doing 2 million per month, so it's doing really well.
but
But
yeah,
who knows? Or maybe
uh,
they both stay. They both have spaces, their own
yeah,
spaces, which is for me like the ideal world of apps where like there's an
yeah,
app for everyone, right? Like
yeah,
so,
yeah,
all niches can coexist and
yeah.
users can pick
I,
and choose.
I think to get a more clear answer on this, we'll have to look at the users, right? So yeah, first of all, Lingo Kids, let's do it next in the next week. The way I see it is that the problem we are solving for is the initial years. You want to help kids not get into these reward loops very early in their journey. Maybe the brain's still developing,
Mm.
everything's developing. So you want to delay it as much as possible because it is eventually going to
Yeah,
happen. So
yeah.
uh, I think right now most parents just put like a TV show in front of them or do this. I've seen some TV
Mm.
shows which they show these colors and these things which are good for kids to calm down. So I'm guessing this is the
Mm.
game version of that they've built.
Yeah.
I see that the initial years could be taken over by one of these apps, and the later years could be taken over by the Lingo Kids app. And maybe
Mm.
at one point, both of them will try to go after the both sides. And
Yeah.
but they both have their own space right now, which makes sense to
Yeah.
focus. Very interesting though. It's crazy. I had to think like a kid. It's like I'm getting my brain capacity down to the kid's capacity. But
Just when you
nice.
thought there are enough apps and enough categories in the app store, something like this pops up, does
Yeah.
well, catches your attention, and you're like, wow, okay, how
Yeah.
would this change user behavior?
Yeah.
What kind of apps get built in the future?
I know.
Yeah, I'm just like, fingers crossed, let's see how this evolves and like, yeah,
No,
which
I'm
one?
personally, yeah.
Mm.
So yeah,
Mm.
I'm very interested to pick some learnings for even apps that I use, right? So right now, like my screen time is like down to 3 hours. I've removed all the addictive apps. I've removed your
Mm.
Instagrams and whatnot. And now I know I have to eventually go back on these, but I would ideally prefer a social media which is not based on likes,
Mm.
which is not based on these reward loops. It's just based on the core problem, which was
Mm.
just sharing what you're doing. That's it.
Yeah.
So maybe there's like a reinvention of a lot of these existing apps that we use personally. And I'm sure like people like me, you want to win back our time. And that's why apps like Opal and these screen time apps
They're doing
exist.
so.
So
Yeah.
I think that there's some learnings that I would love to take back to existing apps and convert them. And I think you attempted to do that with Duolingo. And there's so many other existing apps that we use, which could be de-addicted. I don't know. Is that the word? Yeah.
If that's a term. I mean, to be honest, so I work with wellness apps,
Yeah.
and the trend I see with wellness apps is every app is trying to become like Duolingo, where they're trying to gamify, they're trying to build all these retention features,
Yeah.
and maybe it's something to explore for wellness apps as well. Like,
Yeah.
um, because this is not just for kids learning. Like, non-addictive could be such a good value prop for adults as well. If you want to teach people meditation, if you want to
Yeah.
teach people how to improve their mental health, maybe the UX you should go for is a non-addictive one. It could still be immersive and exploratory,
Yeah.
but it should be, that could be your differentiator.
Yeah.
So probably something to explore for wellness apps as well. Maybe right
Yeah.
now they aren't feeling it because these apps are still under the surface. But as
Yeah.
more and more users start demanding these non-addictive experiences, you might see a Headspace retest its streak feature and see, whether it's still working for them, having streaks in the app.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to double down on this. Sorry, but because it's very interesting to me. And I personally have experienced this. So, like, I've been trying to be more mindful of everything, like whatever activities
Mm.
I do. And recently I've been running like for the last 2 months. And I try to be mindful of running as well. So, when you run, there's so many things. It's a long, it's 30 minutes with by yourself, and so many things are happening,
Yeah.
right? Um,
Yeah.
you're running. There are different motivations that could keep you going for the next step, right? And it could be as simple as, say, like, I need to reach that distance. I need to reach that, finish 5 kilometers. I need to finish a certain pace. I need to reach my home. So these are very extrinsic motivations. Short term, you will get there, but you might come back and say that some people will come back and say, I hated my run. Like, what? I got my badge, or I got my streak completed, or whatever that is, my fitness thing finished. So in these cases, people will end up doing it for the streak, but they will not enjoy running, or maybe there's a transition period, they would enjoy running. So because they're not mindful of the other way to go about it is remove your watch, remove everything, don't even track your run. And this happened to me recently. I was on a beach. I wasn't planning on running, but the wind was nice, the water was hitting me. I was like, might as well just jog. And just the I don't know what the distance was. I just ran, and just that running experience felt really good. Like while running, you could feel like the wind hitting you, you feel like flying. I think, and that kept me, that simple motivation kept me going for like, I mean, I've been running for 2 months, say it every day. And what I've been trying to do every time I run, I used to do this thing. I have a watch, I'll track my distance and
Mm.
whatever. But now that I'm running, I run stronger. When I'm running, I focus on myself, the body hitting, basically being present. It's very, even Headspace does this thing. They have running
Mm.
meditations for the same exact reasons, to be
Yeah.
present. So I think that
Mm.
itself is intrinsic. That's how you build up the intrinsic motivation. Everything else is secondary. What ends up happening with these apps is they make those primary. Like, yeah, I need to finish I'll lose my streak, I'll lose my fitness thing. That's when it becomes horrible.
Yeah.
I think that's where like some app design change has to happen, where people come for either learning or the running or the whatever fitness it is. And these things are just
Mm.
hooks to keep coming back, but not as strong as what your intrinsic motivation should be.
Yeah.
So maybe.
That's a beautiful summary and definitely lot of food for thought at a philosophical level on app design, because when extrinsic motivation isn't enough, what do you do? And maybe it's the next frontier for apps. Can you
Yeah.
nail intrinsic motivation? It's easy to do, and it's getting easier to do
Yeah.
extrinsic motivation with all these levers, retention levers. But yeah, can you nail the intrinsic motivation part, which is probably more art than science? Figuring that out could be a winning recipe
Yeah.
for apps. Maybe there's even a user journey perspective here. Maybe extrinsic is great to get you started, but you need
Yeah.
intrinsic to stick with it.
Yeah.
Ultimately, we want to enjoy the things we
Agree.
do. We don't want to just do everything for a goal.
Exactly.
We want to
Exactly.
enjoy the things we do. And
Yeah.
that,
Yeah.
if you can get someone to enjoy what they do,
Yeah.
there isn't a bigger retention level than that.
Exactly.
You know,
Yeah. Yeah. Eh, You're right.
great. So, yeah, I didn't expect us reviewing a kids learning app leading to this conversation, but that's why this format is amazing. Like you can just venture into different territories. You want to
That's
quickly summarize what stayed with you about Pok Pok,
yeah.
just like from the app perspective before we
Yeah.
close this?
So I think when you explain the app, it is definitely very intriguing, especially because they won. When you mention it as, it's not an addictive app. It actually is de-addictized or whatever, right? So I think I was very curious on the whole, like, what the experience was. And when you went through when you started the app, I was waiting for the experience to come in, but it never came. And I would say, uh, on the onboarding side, they are acting like they have 100 billion users and they don't care about users anymore, while they should actually be focused on explaining why it's different, because they're a different app, they're a unique app. So especially when you're novel, you have to spend time on onboarding to educate, to define whatever it is. And I feel like that's a lot of room for opportunity there, especially because of the hard paywall. Coming down to the core experience, I think it's unique for sure. I don't know if it works because I'm not a kid, but maybe I'll try it out. But it is definitely interesting or unique. I think maybe the core experience was definitely a good food for thought, takeaway. Onboarding, I would not pick anything as inspiration, but a lot of half finished stuff there to pick up, to improve. The next session, let's just improve the onboarding for them and send them.
Yeah, yeah, great. Yeah, I totally agree with what you summarize. For me, what stood out with Pok Pok is identifying the anti trend. And they've done a great job with the anti
All
trend,
right.
where the trend is making addictive apps, but they've identified the non addictive component and they've done that. And then they've doubled down on that with the user experience, where the user experience is unlike what you've seen with other apps. So that's when novelty really works, when it's coupled with this anti trend and serving a segment which is niche, that is parents of kids aged 2 to 8. So very niche. So that definitely, both these things definitely stood out to me. What also stood out to me is their positioning. They targeted a very niche use case with the
Yeah.
user segment, which is traveling. And I think that's a good lesson for apps when thinking of concepts for your creatives. Think about the job to be done and think about the context in which the job needs to be done. Like the job to be done here is making your kid calm, and the context is traveling. It's very specific, but sometimes those specific concepts can capture a user's attention and get them into the app. So I think they're doing a really good job. They're expanding on those concepts, trying other things, but that particular one, I think, definitely great for other apps to also try something similar. And of course, agreeing with you, like
Yeah.
amongst all of this, the creatives, great job, user experience, novel, great job, big opportunity in the middle.
Yeah.
Onboarding should be its own product. Other apps treat onboarding like its own product. And I think they can definitely explore doing that, can
Yeah.
unlock a lot of opportunity. So excited about what this app does, how this app evolves, and how this space, this trend also evolves and percolates into other categories as well. So yeah, glad to have checked this out and
Yeah.
gone through it today.
Thanks so much, Dheeraj, for bringing this up. I think we got took back some one idea to like maybe unravel later today.
Yeah.
All
Right.
right.
All right. Thanks everyone for listening in. And yeah, hopefully we'll continue the discussion next week, try out another app and maybe go through this onboarding and try to revamp it next week. All right. Bye bye. See you later.
Bye. See you.
Bye.